He believes that parallels are quite effective in determining Bitcoin's price movement. In order to do so, we have to make heads or tails of all of the support and resistance that we will encounter. Gareth Soloway says that it's amazing how these particular lines run parallel to each other. You get roughly the same region if you match it up with the following significant pivot area right here. It's just a massive options expiry, with many options expirations in various asset classes as stated by the triple witching. Basically, what you need to watch out for is Bitcoin's price movement on these types of Fridays. Even the week can be very strange. To add to that, this week has already featured strange Bitcoin price movement, including wild swings in the market following the Federal Reserve announcement. We saw a big pop, followed by a big drop yesterday, and then the futures are up this morning heading into the day. The bottom lesson is that investors should concentrate on the larger macroeconomic picture rather than competing for a position to get options or underlying contracts to be somewhat at levels where institutions want them to be moving into exploration. Now, before we go on with the topic, a brief request from us. If you find value in these particular sets of videos, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss our valuable crypto content in the future. Now back to the video. Gareth Soloway says that looking at the whole chart and looking ahead to next week, some of the things that he was considering on was that possibly Bitcoin might go from Pierce's 20,000 to 19,500, 19,200, or even 19,100. He says that you might actually experience a respectable bounce there as well, and his argument for that is supported by the observation yielded on the 10-year note. You actually have a weekly possible topping tail for the 10-year yield. This is what the 10-year yield chart looks like. He says that he monitors this particular chart as the bond market is enormous, especially when compared to the stock market. You need to take this into consideration. This trend line demonstrates that we just tagged this week at 3.5 and that weekly chart has a topping tail. These are bearish reversal signals, and when they appear at a recent high, you truly and sincerely have to go back quite a ways to understand them. The last time we were above this level on the 10-year scale was probably in 2011. This is why we need to look back, Gareth Soloway mentions. He calls it a bearish indication, and since rising rates typically stimulate risk-taking due to the fact that investors are earning less on bonds through interest, it's possible that Bitcoin might rebound in this 1,922 area as well as the DXY. He remarked that he wasn't sure if we can sell today, but if you look at the DXY chart, you can see this weekly channel and where we are on it. You may also see a doji or perhaps a topping tail here. Gareth says that I'm looking at Bitcoin once more, and I do believe that there is a chance that it might still need to break through the $20,000 mark due to the several stops here. Even while you are aware that it is currently psychological in nature, you still need to make these stops and attempt to get rid of those individuals. It wouldn't surprise me to see a rebound to 30 at this point. He says that it'll probably be shorter this time around as we reach the place about 20 that we previously hit, or possibly around 19. When market participants are duped, they may jump on the bounce when it occurs, but not that many actually do. As a result, there aren't as many purchasers to support it when it rolls over. He believes that in a month you could definitely see a change, but it's unlikely that it would be the same duration as the previous one. Additionally, markets tend to enjoy threes according to what we know about them from studying charts. Consequently, 3-bar surges occur before a chart pauses, among other things. On the Bitcoin chart, primary and secondary moves are to the right. Then, if things go downwards once more, we may see a last flush out, maybe reaching this $12,000 target. Now, he doesn't know if it will fall lower, but he's reasonably convinced that we will at least fall below 20,000. By how much less? He believes that 12,000 may be this particular number, but we could definitely encounter a 3-1-2 pattern, and the final third is where most people tend to give up. So many factors are consistent at the 12,000 level, starting with a measured travel from this distance to that particular distance. If you map that same distance from here down, you get 12,000. So that would be the measurable move. There are also a few other factors, such as the historical correction rate of 80 to 85% for Bitcoin in its most recent cycles, which puts you exactly at 12,000 as well. He says that we should also be aware that there are still other several factors, such as this pivot right here at 12,000 where we bottomed out in 2019. There is a technical level there as well, not simply a measured move, not just the 80 to 85 corrective, as seen by the fact that our initial advance up was pulled back before it hit again and ultimately broke out. To take it a step further, one of the things that Gareth likes to do is something that he calls parallels, which really just involves finding a parallel line with another level. One of those things we can see if we go to parallels is that if you draw this line through here and stretch it down, you will always find a line that would be equal to or parallel to this particular pattern. See these particular lows that were broken recently? As a result, you have pivot lows here, 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 and here. After we ultimately broke it, we'll extend that out further. However, he believes that parallels are quite effective at predicting where price movement will encounter support and resistance. So it's just amazing how this line runs parallel to here, which is this line running parallel to there as well, and then running parallel to the next important pivot point right here, which is exactly the same area, so it's all parallel. Once again, this is the power of parallels, and he has started to use these in his trades more and more as he discovered how effective they truly are. In all fairness, Gareth said that he'd nearly promised that at some point in the future when we unite, there will be oppositions if you draw a parallel between here and this line. Oppositions will appear up wherever that line is at that time. It's usually said that every generation must go through something similar, and it makes a lot of sense. This is extremely amazing stuff with trading analogies. Every generation experiences something akin to a reset, and many of those who experienced the Great Depression feel the same way. Unfortunately, there aren't many of them left to serve as a reminder of those particular traps. Soloway mentions that he can still clearly recall his grandmother who was pretty affluent by the time she retired, but who remained extremely cautious with her money since she had experienced and recalled the Great Depression. We should all be mindful of the fact that this is a very hazardous period as we consider that. It's not the time to be a cowboy and go all in on one thing. You need to be cautious. Consider your options and think critically. For Soloway, here is where things start to get very fascinating. He says that I'm attempting to value every coin. So when you look at something like a Cardano, Polkadot, Salon, or Avalanche, you have to ask yourself, well, if this were a corporation, what would it be valued at based on its use case on the stock market? Again, this is extremely difficult, Soloway mentions. But would it be a 100 million company or a multi-billion-dollar one? Personally, I'm not gonna lie. It's so difficult to value these coins, which is one of the reasons why even Mr. Soloway will swap the alternates. But when it comes to where he's going to accumulate for the most part, it's just too difficult to tell the true valuations here. Therefore, for a longer-term investment, he continues with Bitcoin as his primary holding, perhaps with a small amount of Ethereum mixed in. This concludes today's video. Please leave a like, subscribe, and click the bell button to receive information on new crypto content related videos. Again, if you found Mr. Soloway's insights on crypto and where the market is heading helpful, please feel free to share this with your friends. Again, see you later, good luck out there, and thank you for watching.